Stan Lee. The name is synonymous with Marvel Comics, classic superhero characters, and his movie and TV cameos. Stan Lee co-created some of the most well-known and beloved superheroes throughout the decades. He also popped up in various movies, TV shows, and other media with hilarious results, and we are going to count down our favourites. Here I am with, well, not 10, we've got 9 Stan Lee facts. Okay, Stan Lee legally changed his name from Stanley Martin Lieber to Stan Lee in 1972.
Exelsior!
Before Stan Lee became the cultural icon for comic books, he used to write obituaries.
Exelsior!
Stan Lee's first job at Timely Comics in 1939 was as an assistant filling inkwells.
Exelsior!
His wife was his barber. She cut his hair up until she passed in 2017 after 70 years of marriage.
Exelsior!
It was Captain America that gave Stan his first big break.
Exelsior!
Stan Lee always said his favourite cameo was from the Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer movie.
Exelsior!
He wrote the first appearance of the Hulk in The Incredible Hulk in number 1 in 1962, who became green after a printing error.
Exelsior!
In 1972, Stan Lee became Marvel Comics publisher and editorial director.
Exelsior!
And Stan Lee developed the concept of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. He envisioned a cohesive universe where Marvel characters could interact and share storylines.
Exelsior!
Well, that's what it used to be. I don't quite know what the MCU is now, but that's what it used to be back in the good old days. So yes, hello everyone. I am back from my self-imposed exile a lot sooner than I thought I was going to be. Neil is out in this episode and he's going to be away for a few weeks. So, all the best, Neil, and get well soon, buddy. But as I said before we started recording, to our guest, every cloud has a silver lining. So I get to speak to our guest. It's TopHead Donald. Donald, I think this is your hat trick, isn't it? This is your third time.
No, this is my fourth time.
Oh my God! I think you've taken the lead then as our most regular guest.
Let me think. Fictional doctors.
That's right.
Then we did, and then there was the parody movies.
Parody movies. That's right. There is another one. I can't remember what it was because
parody music. It was a music-related one.
Wasn't it comedy songs?
Yeah.
There you go. The guy just cannot stay away. You're literally my co-host. That's what you are. So we're doing Stan Lee cameos. Now, the question I needed to ask you before we start anything else, have you done your cameos just in the movies that he's been in, or have you done it from TV shows and because he's been in games as well?
I mean, I looked at all of them, and I just the way it ended up being was just the movie ones. But
okay, so
I did look at
right now. If you again, so then sort of zoning in a bit more, are you just doing MCU and Marvel movies? Because he has again been in not just Marvel movies.
Unfortunately, I don't. The ones that I liked the best were all in Marvel, but I did give an honorable mention to Mallrats.
That's right, yeah, and I'm sure that we're going to have some duplicates on here as well. We've also got a little bit of a quiz. Now, obviously, it doesn't work the same with not you against Neil, but I'm just going to be quizzing you, and I hope you listen to some of the facts because some of the answers might be in the quiz. So we'll see if you were listening earlier on. We'll just have to wait and see because I'm not sure whether you did or whether you didn't. But, so in regards, look, now I'm going. We may get a little bit controversial here in regards to the whole state of the MCU. Are you a fan of Marvel movies in general then, Donald?
In general, yeah, I like them better than DC.
Which isn't hard, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I do, because I'm a massive Marvel, especially the MCU going up to Endgame, if you like. But when it comes to post-Endgame, I feel that Marvel have now completely dropped the ball, and nothing seems to have any. Well, not necessarily make any sense, but nothing seems to have any emotion anymore. I got so emotional for Endgame, cried all the way through it because it was just a culmination of all these different storylines and characters. Now I don't give a shit about any Marvel character. It's sad to say. I don't know whether you feel the same.
I'm still looking forward to Deadpool 3.
That I think is the exception. That because I think if anything, they're going to take the piss out of everything that's happening in Marvel now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do.
Definitely.
It's gonna be interesting. Like I say, I feel that when we're talking about our choices in this, I feel like I'm going to be looking at it thinking, these were the good old days of Marvel, when not only did you worry about the characters and you thought how good the story was, you always looked forward to the Stan Lee cameo just to see where he was going to crop up.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, right. Let's crack on. So if you want to give us your number 10, obviously, if we've got duplicates, make sure you let me know if we have or not. But kick us off with your number 10 then, Donald.
My number 10 is his cameo in Venom.
Okay, right. Remind me of that one.
It's near the end of the movie when, I haven't actually seen the movie, but I've seen the clip. He and Eddie Brock, who of course has the Venom symbiote in him, is sitting on the corner of some street, and just Stan Lee comes up as some character. He's like, "Give both of you, give her another chance."
All right. Oh, he's talking to the symbiote and Eddie Brock at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. That was a surprising movie, I must say, because I wasn't expecting too much out of that movie, and it ended up being really good.
And that was basically don't pretend that was the one that was released right before he died.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you said you haven't actually seen the movie.
No, I've seen many clips.
Yeah. I think, I mean, Tom Hardy is a lot of fun in that. He totally goes over the top, but he does it in a way where he's doing it sort of dead, not dead straight, but he's putting everything into it. Put it that way, and it really works. I think he's really good. Like, he suits that character really well. But yeah, that was the one just before he died, wasn't it? I think that was his last actual one that he filmed, I think.
No, he filmed maybe one or two others, but they didn't release until after he died.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Good one to kick us off with there. And what I'll do as well, just let all our Patreon top heads know, I'll put all the clips that we talk about will go into I haven't done this for a while. The video playlist. That's right. That's what it's called. I've got to get back into the rhythm of this whole thing. Excuse me. Okay. So my number 10, I'm going with Iron Man 2 in 2010. And it's during the Stark Expo. And I noticed on, I think it was Wikipedia when I was looking through it, it says that he's wearing suspenders and a red shirt. Now, I think that means like sock suspenders, doesn't it? Because as soon as I say see suspenders, that's not sexy suspenders, is it? He was wearing.
The suspenders are like they'd used to hold up your pants.
Ah, of course, right. Braces. We call them braces in the UK. Right. I was thinking to myself, what part of Iron Man 2 is Stan Lee wearing, like, sexy stockings and suspenders? And I thought, I can't remember that bit. But obviously, no, suspenders. Of course, because
take them for Larry King.
Exactly, because Tony Stark thinks that it's Larry King, and he's got because
Larry King's signature look is the suspenders over the shirt.
There you go. It's the whole Brit US thing of the same as you say pants. I'm thinking of underpants. So I'm thinking that he's wearing sexy stockings with underpants. Well, that's not that at all, is it, Donald? It's braces holding up his trousers. That's what it is. Oh God, I could have got myself in a whole lot of trouble with that. But yeah, so for me, number 10 is during the Stark Expo, and like you just said, he mistakenly greets Tony. He's greeted by Tony Stark, thinking that he's Larry King, which that wasn't the first time that Tony Stark thinks that Stan Lee is somebody else, but we'll come to that a little bit later on, because that's one of my in fact that's my next one. But okay, that's number 10. So your number 9 then, please.
My number 9 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Stan Lee's character goes up to his car, tries to put the key in, and his car shrinks.
Yes.
And he makes a comment about, man, the 60s are catching up to me now.
I mean, it's the one thing that they always gave him really good lines, didn't they? They always gave him like real good one-liners that you knew that I always. I mean, put it this way: I can remember. I don't even know what age I was, but I can remember being at my grandparents' staying over and looking at Marvel comics and seeing pictures or drawn pictures of Stan Lee. This is obviously when he had dark hair, but he always looked so cool with his tash and and there was always something very comforting about seeing Stan Lee on screen, whether it was him as himself and doing a lot of stuff with Kevin Smith, like you said, Donald, or just when he used to just flash up on screen, and it was always everything's good with the world because there's Stan Lee, And I don't think it's a coincidence that with Stan Lee passing away, Marvel has kind of gone on a bit of a decline. I don't think it's a coincidence that timeline is sort of,
I don't think so either.
Because he was like the watcher, if you like. He's overseeing everything and just being a little bit of a guiding light to everything. And as soon as he goes, everything is just, it's very much like George Lucas giving up, the leadership of Star Wars. As soon as he's sort of done that, everything just drifts away and becomes something different. And I just feel it's the same thing. But that one very closely was almost in my top 10, that one. Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Sorry, Donald.
I was thinking, you said Star Wars. A lot of people have said that a lot of the stuff are out there, series, like the series of Star Wars, like The Mandalorian, and those are some of the strongest stuff we've had, Star Wars wise.
I mean, it seems to be one good one and then one really bad one. With good bits. I think The Mandalorian stands way above everything else. Andor was really good, but didn't feel very really Star Warsy. There's good bits of Kenobi, but there's some really bad bits as well. I don't know. Look, I don't feel like Star Wars is mine anymore. The original trilogy is mine, and everything else is kind of, let's just watch it and enjoy it for what it is, I think. But okay, so that was your number 9, Ant-Man and the Wasp. My number 9 is actually the one I was talking about earlier on, is Iron Man, the original Iron Man. There were 2 versions of this, I believe. This is when Tony Stark mistakes him for Hugh Hefner. We see this grey-haired guy with his back to the camera with a lovely lady on each arm, and Tony Stark walks past him and just taps him on the shoulder and says, "Hey, Hef," and he turns round and it's good old Stan Lee there with 2 lovely ladies. But apparently I was reading, it says there was another version where Stark realizes his mistake, but Lee graciously responds, "That's okay, I get this all the time." So he's showing that he's a little bit of a ladies' man there. Good old Stan. But I think that wasn't his first cameo, because he obviously done cameos a lot earlier than that. But I think that was the one in the MCU that we thought, this is going to be something that they're going to keep doing. And it's funnily enough that Iron Man 2, he was mistaken as somebody else again. I was wondering whether that might have been a thing they were thinking of doing, that every time he's mistaken as somebody, but they did it twice. They don't want to really oversell that, do they? I don't think. Okay, so that was my number 9. So, Donald, your number 8 then, please.
And number 8 is the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, when he's talking with the Watchers.
That's right. Now you have to remind me on this one. Wasn't this one that this was like the end of credit scene, wasn't it?
There really was 2 scenes. The one where he's actually talking with the Watchers, like somewhere in the middle of the movie, but in the end credits scene, the Watchers are walking away.
That's right. That's right. Because doesn't he makes some comment about being a delivery driver or something, doesn't he?
Yeah,
that's right. Because I think
he talks about various things, various cameos that he's made.
That's right. Because I think in the movie, isn't it when they're doing the time jumps, and they do a one-time jump, and Stan Lee is there with surrounded by all the Watchers, and then at the very end, it's like That's right. That's right. I mean, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think they're so good. I'd forgotten about the. It was only us talking there. I'd forgotten about the bit in the middle there.
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Have you not? I would thoroughly recommend it. But bring some tissues, because you will cry. Is all I'm going to say. I know you're made of harder stuff than I am, Donald, but just to say that you will cry, because it's just that kind of movie, you know. Okay. My number 8 is when he makes a posthumous appearance in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, in which he sells Spider-Man costume to Miles Morales. Now, it took me a long time to watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and when I did watch it, I had to watch it a couple of times because the style of animation. I don't know if have you seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
No, but I've seen like what the style of animation is.
Yeah.
I've seen the clips.
It always made me think that, oh my god, this is a 3D movie, and I should have 3D glasses on, because it's slightly sort of blurry and the edges are a little bit but I watched it and I thought, what an amazing movie. And it's such a beautiful scene, because Miles goes in and asks what happens if the suit doesn't fit, and Stan responds, it always fits eventually. But then he reveals that he has no returns and no refunds policy, so he can't bring it back anyway. But again, it said on Wikipedia, it said it was important to Lord and Miller to give Lee a bigger moment in the film rather than just a passing cameo, because they felt he was integral to the spirit of the movie. They described the role as extra meaningful given Lee's death a month before the film's release. And then I watched Across the Spider-Verse, I think the latest one. What an amazing movie. That is a way to do a superhero movie. It was completely different to anything I'd seen before. And if you haven't, I would again recommend, I'm going to give you a list of movies to watch now, Donald. Watch both of them. Watch Into the Spider-Verse, and then I think it's called Across the Spider-Verse, but it's a 2-parter. The next part's coming out next year, I think. But oh my god, what a couple of movies. So good. So funny, loads of energy, action, but it's just different, and that was the beauty of it. It was different to all these smash them up. You know, you have 2 superheroes just smashing the shit out of each other for half an hour, and it's just, it was so good. So anybody out there that wants to see a good movie and likes animation and likes Spider-Man, thoroughly recommend those movies. Okay, on to number 7 then, please.
My number 7 is Thor Ragnarok. The hair cutter.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, this very nearly made my top 10, because the way he picks up that whatever that contraption is. And I mean, Thor doesn't get scared about anything, does he? But he gives like this almighty shrill. Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. I'm like, God knows what that. I mean, that was one hell of a contraption. But I suppose you need a contraption like that to cut a god's hair, because cutting a god's hair is not going to be easy, is it? No, that is a good one. Yeah, it was very close to my top 10, that one, but yeah, didn't quite make it. Although it probably should have done, I think. That's the beauty. See, that's the beauty of Stan Lee cameos, is that he only needs to be in one scene for maybe 20 seconds, and it'll be something that you'll remember from the movie afterwards. It doesn't matter whether it's a good movie or a bad movie.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I can't remember too much from that movie.
No. I mean, that's another one. I mean, Thor Ragnarok I thought was better than, what was the one after? Love and Thunder. Missed opportunity was Love and Thunder, really, I think. Okay, right. We'll move on. Okay, my number 7. And I'm actually going away. I'm going away from the MCU now. But as Donald said earlier on, he will be part of the MCU now. But I'm going for Deadpool for 2016, where Stan Lee appeared as himself, working as an MC at a strip club, and he seemed right at home being the MC in a strip club. And he announces that give it up for chastity, which, again, it's a perfect way to put Stan Lee on the screen. He didn't have anything to do with the creation of Deadpool, but I thought it was a nice little way of chucking Stan Lee in there as
definitely one of the more unexpected.
It definitely was, but he didn't look out of place in a strip club, did he? That was the thing. He looks so at home there, and you feel like he was just like, because I think it was what I can always remember when they wheeled him out at every Comic-Con, but he loved it, didn't he? He absolutely loved the fact that he was a god to the people that went to Comic-Con. You know, he was the man that everybody wanted to see, and as long as he shouted out
Exelsior,
everybody was happy. You know, everybody was happy. That's all they wanted. True believers and Excelsior. That's all they wanted, and everybody would just go home happy. That's all they cared about. So that was right. That was your number. Was that my number 7? Yeah, that was my number 7. Yes. So Deadpool 2016 was my number 7. So your number 6 then, please, Donald.
My number 6 is Spider-Man 3, when Peter Parker's standing there having these doubts, and Stan Lee's character, who showed up in all 3, we're pretty sure is the same character, where the first 2 movies his character saved somebody, and the third one he walks up to Peter and he's like, maybe one person can make a difference.
I mean, yeah, that's a really good one. Mainly for the fact that, like, I was saying earlier on that they always give him good lines that are like funny lines that you'll remember. But then he can also have those kind of poignant lines that are going to hit home. And only Stan Lee can give a line like that to Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, something similar to earlier with Venom. Because that was a nice, inspiring quote kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's... I would love to know which way round they did it. I mean, obviously, every time they wrote a script, would they write the script and then think, right, we need to fit Stan Lee in here somewhere? Or would they have the idea for Stan Lee first and then go, right, well, we can put that in that scene? I would love to know which way they did it, because they'd have to do it once they've started doing these cameos especially for Marvel movies. They've got to work out one way.
Find out.
Yeah, or whether it was Stan Lee's idea. Maybe Stan Lee went, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll do this, and it would be interesting to find out. I might do a little bit of digging on that one, I think. Okay, that was your number 6. My number 6, I'm going for Avengers: Age of Ultron in 2015, where he appeared. 5. Is that what?
That's my number 5.
That's your number 5. Okay. It goes from the fact that they're all the Avengers are together, they're having a party, and they've got some World War II veterans there. Yeah. He claims he fought at Omaha Beach, and they're having I think it's Thor that brings out this Asgardian little shot bottle or whatever it is. So they're all having these little hits of whatever this Asgardian liquor is. And then the next scene you see is him being carried away and pissed out of his Excelsior. Yeah, just absolutely pissed out of his head. And he was sort of standing, so you feel like maybe he could handle a little bit of the Asgardian ale or whatever it was, but not quite as much as Thor. So he's not quite a god. But it was definitely. I think he had to do a little bit more acting there than he normally does, which was quite good. Right. But we have actually got halfway. But before we do anything else, if I can find it, where are we? Here we go.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Right, I'm going to ask you some questions, Donald. Are you ready?
Yes.
Right. So what was Stan Lee's full birth name?
Stanley. Was it Leibowitz?
I'm gonna give you half a point there. It was Stanley Martin Lieber. I'm gonna give you a very short ding on the bell. So you got half a point for that one. In which year was Stan Lee born?
I have no clue on that one.
Do you not want to have a guess? Do you want to throw any year out?
Let's see.
I'll give you a clue. It's in the 1900s.
Yeah, well, gonna guess maybe 1935.
It was 1922.
Oh.
What was the first comic book character co-created by Stan Lee?
Wasn't that Captain America?
It was the Destroyer in Mystic Comics number 6. Stan Lee served in the U.S. military during which war?
Yeah, if he was born in 22, it'd probably be World War II. I mean,
It was World War II. Well done, Donald. You got that one right. Let me see. What else have we got? Which comic book company did Stan Lee join in the early 1940s?
is that Mystic?
It was Timely Comics, which later evolved into Marvel Comics in the early 1940s. What is the name of the fictional city where many Marvel comic stories are set, co-created by Stan Lee?
Did he create? Well, I know that's the whole country, but this thing. A lot of these cities in Marvel are actual cities where DC created their entire everything.
You're absolutely you are right with that. So I'm surprised what the answer is. It could be just give me a name of a city.
No, I was just gonna say Latveria, but I know that's a country.
Yeah, no, it's actually New York City, but that isn't a fictional city, is it? You're absolutely right, because Marvel used actual cities and countries, whereas DC completely, like Gotham and Metropolis. Yeah, so I'll have to message Neil and find out whether that actual one is correct, because I'm gonna make a little point about that one. Okay, Stan Lee is known for making cameo appearances in Marvel Cinematic Universe films. What was the first MCU cameo?
Well, that would be the first MCU movie, and that would be The Incredible Hulk.
It was actually Iron Man. The Incredible Hulk came out after Iron Man.
That's right. Okay,
yes.
Yeah. But still, it was the first MCU movie.
Yeah. Alongside Jack Kirby, Stan Lee co-created which superhero team in 1961?
Did he create that Fantastic Four?
Did you say Fantastic Four?
Yes.
Is correct. Stan Lee was the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics for how many years?
50?
It was 31, actually. Oh, I don't know why I dinged you there. I should be.
Pop
Oh,
quiz.
wrong one. No, not that one. That's the one. That's the got there in the end. Final question. In addition to co-creating superheroes, Stan Lee also appeared in what form of media as a narrator and a host?
Okay. The way that question is worded is gotta be.
Yeah, I must admit, because it's quite. The answer is including animated series and documentaries, so it's very wide and broad, that one there. So, but
yeah.
I would say you won. I would say you won the competition. Oh, wrong one again. I'd see. It shows you how long it is since I've used these. Well done, Donald. I'm going to give you that as the win. Okay, I'm going to give you that as the win. So well done. Okay, back to the countdown. You had Age of Ultron as your number 5.
Yeah.
So my number 5 is actually Avengers Endgame in 2019. And this is where Lee makes a posthumous appearance, digitally de-aged, as a car driver in the 70s, driving past the army base camp and shouting, "Hey man, make love, not war." And it's a beautiful scene. It really is. And there's also a digital recreation of his wife in the 1970s. And it's so good. I can't remember the name of the song that is playing, but it's so good. And I can remember watching, when I watched that the first time, that was the Stan Lee that I remember from looking at the comics when I was little. It was the black hair, the black moustache. And it was just so well done. It was perfectly done to have Stan Lee in there, especially in that movie. Because, like I say, that movie is the absolute pinnacle of the MCU for me. And it doesn't get any better than that. So it was great to have him in there, especially Endgame, as opposed to Infinity War. But yeah, that one for me was a great one. Okay. Donald, you're number 4, please.
Number 4 is Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Okay, this was the one that he said was one of his favorites. So, why? What happens in this one?
For this one, it's the wedding scene. It's the wedding of Sue and Richard, and he's going to get in, and the guy stops him, says, "Well, you're not on the list." Or asks him his name. Says, Stan Lee. You're not on the list. What do you mean I'm not on the list? I'm Stan Lee.
You know what? I think I've seen that movie once. I think it wasn't a movie that people really dig, did they?
The movie's not that great, no, but that one scene.
Yeah, I need to look at that scene again because I didn't even see that one. It's weird because with the facts, I should have just double checked that one and seen what that one was like. But are you a fan of the Fantastic Four movies?
They weren't all that good.
No,
Even the reboot one was not that good.
that wasn't good at all. I must admit, that was one of those movies. The strange thing about that movie is that I think, if I'm right, because I only saw it once, but like halfway through the movie, there is like 1 year later kind of thing. And it becomes a completely different movie. You can tell where the studio got involved and where Josh Trank, I think it was, wasn't it, that directed it? And he disowned the movie in the end. I think he got thrown off the movie or something crazy happened. But yeah, it's a mess of a movie. It's going to be really interesting to see what the MCU do with Fantastic Four in the future. Because I thought they were so good on the Doctor Strange movie when John Krasinski turned up as Reed Richards. I thought that was a great.
Yeah, that was pretty. Yeah.
But I mean, by the sounds of it, he's not going to be, because I think they're getting ready to film the new Fantastic Four, and they haven't said who's going to be. Oh, I pressed. Sorry about that. Oh God. Didn't mean to do that then, Donald. So terribly sorry. Just things are just getting out of hand. Oh dear. Anyway, that's a good one. Rise of the Silver Surfer at your number 4. My number 4 is the one that Donald spoke about earlier on, and it is Mallrats with Kevin Smith. This is I think this is the first cameo I can remember seeing Stan
Definitely
Lee.
one of his earlier.
Yeah, see Stan Lee in.
Even before the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, and he plays himself, and he's visiting the mall to sign books at a comic store, and then he also gives Jason Lee's character Brody some advice on love and life and what to do. And another one of those ones where he's a little bit more thoughtful, and the things he says are a lot more poignant as opposed to it being just for laughs and just for chuckles. But that is really sweet. And see, I like Jason Lee. I think Jason Lee's a great actor. I think, and he's so good as Brody in Mallrats.
Yeah. To be honest, I've never actually seen the full movie.
Have you not?
But
It's Kevin again. It's Kevin Smith at the top of his game. I kind of not really liked the last couple of movies that he's done. I would never say that to his face, obviously. I've been very lucky in that I've met him a couple of times, Kevin Smith. So I've never told him that his last couple of movies have not been particularly good. I've just told him about the movies I think are great, which I think is the best thing to do when you are face to face with people that you like. You don't tell them what you don't like. Okay, so that was my number 4. So on to your number 3 then, please, Donald.
my number 3 is Captain America: Civil War.
That is my... Oh, yeah. That's Tony Stank, isn't it?
Tony Stank. Yeah.
Tony Stank, yeah.
A lot of people see that as his way of getting back at Tony for the previous times in Iron Man 1 and 2.
It's so good. It's so good. It's the fact that, like, I forget who plays Rhodey. What's his name?
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. He turns to Tony Stark and he says, "I'm going to use that. I'm going to always call you that now. I'm going to always call you Tony Stank." It's is there a Tony Stank? It's so good. It is great because again, that movie is quite a heavy movie. It's got a lot of stuff riding on it and a lot of emotions. So to have that as a little bit of a bump at the end, just a little bit of a funny thing at the end, I think is just lightens the load of the movie. I think.
See, I read the original Civil War comics, so I had a lot of expectations on my mind for it, and well, didn't quite.
So because I've never read the comics, so was it very different, like the comics, to what happened in the movie then?
Yes, in the movie it centers around the Winter Soldier or Bucky. In the original Civil War, the triggering event was a fight between two different groups. One's heroes, one villains, which ended up blowing up an elementary school.
Oh, right, okay.
And so the governments are like, it's time to get all the heroes registered, get their identities and powers, and of course this split. You have Tony Stark and Iron Man. He's all for it, and then you have Steve Rogers, who's all against it, and then that's the divide that splits everything.
Right. Okay. So the kind of framework of the comic is what they use for the movie, but they change the situations a little bit then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I must read that because trouble is, it was a lot of comics, wasn't it? It was a lot of.
Yes. There's the mainline Civil War comics, and then there's the split off ones with the various different characters and groups.
Yeah. I must do that though. I think it would be interesting to see what the comic book version was compared to that. But no, that's a good one. May come up in my last couple of choices. But my number 3 is Spider-Man: Homecoming from 2017, where Stan Lee, he appeared as an annoyed neighbor called Gary. He's witnessing Spider-Man mistakenly accosting an innocent civilian and says to him, "Don't make me come down there, you punk." And another neighbor called Marjorie greets him and asks him about his welfare, where he just turns on a dime and just, "I don't know, how's your mother?" You know, so he's really angry with Spider-Man at the time, and then turns to his friend and says, "Oh yeah, how you doing? How's his mother?" It's a really sweet little scene, but shows you two sides of Stan. Shows two sides of him there, but it's a great little scene, that one. Okay, your number 2 then, please, Donald.
My number 2 is pre-MCU Hulk, where he's the security, when he's a security guard with Lou Ferrigno as the other security guard.
That's right.
So just to see him and somebody who played the Hulk together.
That's right. Now this is the Ang Lee one, isn't it? Hulk.
Yes.
The Eric Bana. Eric Bana played.
Eric Bana, yeah.
That's right. Because I very nearly put the other one from the Incredible Hulk in, where, isn't it? Stan Lee is the one that's
the soda that has the tainted blood in it.
Yeah. And he goes into the fridge and he's going to go and have some of the drink, and you think, oh no, we're going to have a Stan Lee Incredible Hulk. But yeah, I think that was a great touch to have Lou Ferrigno in there as well, because I was watching on YouTube a couple of days ago a couple of clips of the TV Hulk, and like in my mind as a kid, I always remember thinking how great it was, and then I watched some of the clips of it and I thought, this is shit, this is terrible. Same as the $6 Million Man. I loved watching the $6 Million Man, and then I watched some of it a couple of weeks ago and I thought, oh my god, this is crap. This is terrible. But as a kid, as like a 6-7 year old kid, it was everything like the $6 Million Man. I thought, I can't believe he's so fast. They got to slow it down to slow motion. This is crazy. But yeah, that is a good one, because like you say, to have Stan Lee and Lou Ferrigno there, it was a nice little twofer, wasn't it? It was a nice little double surprise there. Okay, my number 2 is The Amazing Spider-Man in 2012, where Stan Lee is the librarian in the science high school, and he's got headphones on and he's just carrying on with his work. All this mayhem is going on behind him. Things are smashing, windows are breaking, and things are flying through walls, and he's completely oblivious to it all because he's got his headphones on and he doesn't care, and it's just this whole thing that he's front of the shot and all this mayhem is going on behind him, and it's beautiful because he plays it so straight, and
sometimes he just doesn't have to say a word.
Exactly, and that was the perfect version of that, without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, before we reveal our number 1s, Donald, do you want to give us a quick rundown of your 10 to 2?
At number 10, I had Venom. Number 9, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 7, Thor Ragnarok. Number 6, Spider-Man 3. Number 5, Age of Ultron. Number 4, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. Number 3, Captain America Civil War. And number 2, Hulk.
Wonderful. And mine is number 10, Iron Man 2. Number 9, Iron Man. Number 8, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Number 7 was Deadpool. 6, Avengers Age of Ultron. 5, Avengers Endgame. 4, Mallrats. 3, Spider-Man Homecoming. And 2, The Amazing Spider-Man. So, Donald, what is your number 1 Stan Lee cameo?
My number 1 is Deadpool.
Hey! There you go. Give it up for chastity. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, he's never looked more at home just working in a strip club. He's never looked more at home. So I think it's an absolute yeah, I mean, that's a great one. I mean, yeah, what did it make mine? It was number 7 for me. But yeah, we've already spoken about that one. My number 1 is one that was in your top 10, and it is Captain America: Civil War. It is Tony Stank. I'm having as my number 1, just because I feel that it's everything that a Stan Lee cameo should be. You know, it just topped the movie off perfectly with a really, really good laugh and something that is just memorable. Perfect delivery. You can't get any better than that. Right, because of all the mix-ups and stuff that we've had, we haven't got any honourable mentions. So, excuse me.
Well, you know, for me, I had the honorable mention of Mallrats. And well, the one that gave me the inspiration was I was watching Deadpool 2 and the mural of him.
That's right.
The parachute scene.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said earlier on, it's kind of like you watch. I know that when I'm putting the video playlist together, it's going to be sort of bittersweet because, like I say, this is the heyday for me of MCU movies, and things just aren't the same in the MCU now, and I've just got not got the same hunger or emotion for the movies that are coming out now, and it's weird that you don't really get Stan Lee cameos anymore, obviously. So it's kind of it was kind of all the same time that it all sort of started going to shit. So thanks, Stan, for that. You know, I feel like it's his fault. You know, but then again, we don't all live forever. So but then again, Stan Lee will live forever. Because we've got his movies, we've got his amazing cartoon characters and comic book characters that will go on way past all of us, I think. You know, they're going to be forever timeless, and they'll forever be making movies about them, and we just have to be thankful for that, I feel, you know. Right, before we say our goodbyes and all that shenanigans, I've got all this other gumph to say. If you want to get in touch with us, and you can want to email us, toptenpods at hotmail.com. If you want to get us onto social media, just go look at all the stuff on the show notes. It's all there on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can also go onto our LINKTREE. There's all the different links of all the stuff. Just go onto the show notes. Everything is on there to get merch, to come and join us on Patreon, like the wonderful Donald is here. Come and be a guest on the pod. You can come and be a guest on the pod and make your own top 10s and come and give us some suggestions as well. Patreon.com at /top10pods. You can tell that Neil normally does this because he's got this down. He can do it in like 25 seconds. I'm all over the place. You can even buy us a coffee if you want to. It's all in the show notes. That's the best way to do it. Just click on the show notes and you'll see it all. It's so much easier than me waffling on like some demented asshat. Anyway, Donald, thank you so much. That's number 4 in the bag, and you'll come back to us, I know, with a suggestion for your 5th go, because you get some good suggestions, young man.
I always got things going on around my head, so I'll come up with something that
You know, I don't think you realise how ominous that sounded when you said that, Donald. I don't know whether I should be like calling the police when you say things like that, because that feels like, I don't know what you're going to do next. Anyway, Donald, thank you once again. Thank you for your continued support. It means the world to us. It really does. Thank you very much for everybody watching and listening. Neil, get yourself better. And from all of us, let's start the countdown.